Hello, and welcome back to Satisfactory. I am trying to button up this base here on the grass field so that I can emigrate to a new location. Need to eventually pick up my hub, and my well, the hub is really the only thing I have to pick up. And we're going to head up to the northwest, where I was exploring, and I found a couple of things. First of all, I found a whole lot of area that I could just wander around in. I spent 2 hours wandering around there, just looking around, enjoying. I found a cave that I could go into that really cool. I found some neat stuff to pick up. So by now you know about Mercer Spheres, which I've picked up some of, and Summer's Loops, which I picked up some of. And if you're following along, you have encountered some storyline stuff, and I'm not going to spoil it. So enjoy the game. These videos are more about the building concepts, how I am putting together factory lines to meet the needs of each stage and do it within what's available. Anyway, the upshot was when I was walking across the top of the world here, climbing up layer after layer after layer, found a bauxite node. Thought I would put a marker there. Don't know what bauxite's for yet. In early access, I believe it fed into my aluminum factory, but that's been a long time ago since I built that factory. Don't really remember. But north of that, we've got a bunch of iron nodes and some limestone and some copper. And far north, up here where this little house is, that's where I'm going to put my new base, because there are 4 pure iron nodes there. And just up the way, there's some coal, so I think we're probably good for resources. Oh, and I did notice what looks like oil down here. Now, our next milestone is opening up oil, so I couldn't ping and find it, but I did see little pools of stuff in oil node. So we got oil down here. In early access, I did tap that oil, and I actually set up a massive building here on the water, which was just a big ocean-going oil platform thing. That was fun. I may do it again. So we have not explored the entire world by any means. I've just gone up the west coast here. There's huge. We'll get to it. But for right now, before I can leave this place, I must automate the steel beams. And you can see I've got my little TLDR up there, my little checklist of what I need to build. I actually have a much longer document that on each one of those tells me what the inputs are, what the outputs are, what the rates are, and all that. But in this case, this is a bog simple building. So we've got iron coming in, which we turn into ingots. And we've got coal coming in, which we combine with the ingots to make solid steel ingots. And we take those solid steel ingots, we shove them through constructors to make steel beams. I considered bringing in some limestone, making some concrete with it, and using all the limestone to make molded beams, which is a slight throughput increase, and we can, well, a slight increase in what we can build. But it ended up only increasing my output by under 10%. And it added too much complexity to the build. I ended up with 5 constructors making steel beams, plus 1 foundry making molded beams. And then, because it was late at night, I got all tired and caught up in trying to fit 6 foundries in a single floor with all the belts underground. And I finally worked it out, and I ended up with all of my outputs on one belt, with 360 per minute, and on Mark III belts. So I put it up for the night. And in the morning, I had an epiphany. The way I've been doing it is I was putting all my foundries side by side, so I could have my inputs running horizontally, and foundries, one input would select from one to the north and one would select from one to the south. And then my outputs were up here, so I had 3 parallel lines going east-west, and my foundries went north-south. It was very organized. It was kind of tight. And I didn't really like it because it encouraged me to put all of my outputs on one line. I could change that, but how do I route things? It got to be too much for 3 o'clock in the morning. Woke up this morning, I thought, hey, why not put my foundries nose to tail? So essentially, you're like this, everything going along. And you pick up one input from the left and one input from the right, and you drop your output in the middle. At the far end, maybe you loop your right-hand input around to something coming back down the other side. Maybe you don't. Maybe you split them going in. We do have a natural split here. I've got 3 foundries on the left and 3 foundries on the right. Well, I could split my iron smelting up, so there's 4 smelters smelting the iron, which provides iron for one side and iron for the other. So the iron could come up on 2 lines. Coal, I could either bring it on one line that comes up and loops around and goes back down. I could do that. I could split it externally and have it just come up. But I think I'm going to loop it around. But the thing is, the epiphany there was nose to tail. And I started laying it out just to make sure it would work. And I thought, well, let's not go any further until I start recording this. It took a bit. I had some false starts where I was trying to pack it into too tight a space. Then I realized that I really do have 2x4 area things in. Now, packed nose to tail. If you put the first one starting here, the last one ends there. So they do fit, which, because I was able to put 3 across, means that in theory, you could put 9 foundries on one 4x4 area without doing any extra clipping. I mean, this is just letting them rest as close as they can get normally in the game, not using any tricks to clip. And that puts the holes in these locations. Basically, I looked at the way the holes came up here. I could probably, I'm gonna check and see if I can separate them by one more. With them right next to each other, the mergers and splitters kind of overlap a bit. Want to. I'm gonna relax the spacing a little. It's like a decision that I made on the fly while I was looking at it just now. So this may be a mistake. Oh, let's make sure it actually connects. So you are an output. You have a why isn't that telling me what? Conveyor lift Mark 1. Good. Okay, so I remember what it looked like when I had these out. These kind of came out and down and back up. With it like this, I like it better, not just for what it's going to do below, but it does give me a little bit of walking space, and I really like it when these top floors have a bit of walking space. You have to nudge them in as a hologram. You can't normally just place it there. Everything gets in the way. But you hit H for hologram, and then you hit the arrow keys to move it around. Forward, backward, left. Can't nudge up and down. Aw. Keep wanting to get return to place. So this last one, I had it here, and I was able to make outputs come from the here, which is going to come down the center, I was able to make that turn. Are reducing the amount of space in between these two. So our next challenge is going to be to verify I can make the turn, have my output appear here. All of these move all of my holes. Notice I've brought down the power lines. You do that early, it's easier to kind of eyeball this and get it vertical. And then you defer hooking up the power so you've got everything else in, because otherwise the power lines swinging around like this just kind of make it. So our challenge was going to be here. Having our output come through here, merge with this, get out there. Put this here. Let's set up our inputs here first. Splitter need to be to the left of this. I can't go over this line in the middle. In fact, let's put in something to enforce that. Since whatever I do on this side of the line is going to be duplicated over here. Now, it's not mirrored exactly because the outputs are still going to be right. Oh. Help me. Nope. Doesn't. He's left over. So our input is going to be coming from here. That means naturally we'd want our splitters to be on this line. So let's start with that. Splitter is going to be this line somewhere. We're going to be providing input there. So here. Have a similarly, I tried to get this so that we have our constraints. Splitters on this line. It's up, divides that is. You see how this gets kind of tight in here. That kind of forces our mergers to be right on this center line here. What I want to do is bring this guy out, make a bend, come in here. And I want to do it in such a way that I can pick up this guy. And I don't do this with a marker side, so I have to do it with a marker that line. That's collecting our last output. This is going to be too short. But it works anyway. So yay. This one. We're going to ignore flipping. There were designs where I had all of these in this kind of a space, so everything was forced. Literally half the belt went through each merger. So I'm going to ignore that much clipping. I think I can avoid bringing the second input in. So if that's coal in, I could just drag it from here out this way into the next splitter, which sends things up. Here is my first output. So the question now in my mind is, can I do the same thing on this side? I probably want to work that out before I start hammering all of the belts and lifters into place. But that works. Is there any challenge here? These guys just come in and go right straight up. This guy comes down and goes right straight out. So there's no challenge on this side. So I need to get the same pattern of holes. And these guys don't mirror. Let's take these guys. You can see our holes here. I want the same pattern of holes over here. Our outputs are still going to be on the right, so they're not toward the middle. They're on the right. There, and guy is right. Slot. Right. And our slide. Hey, is that correct? Up. Caught it. 2. Hopefully we'll be able to drop those in just like that. Make it really super easy for me to route all of this. I am going to get rid of their corner here. No, I don't need to keep one. See, now I've got some light. I should have done that to begin with. We don't need this input. We're going to have our iron ingots coming in on the corners. We're going to have our coal coming in here. Coal will reach here and will round. Outputs will come up the middle and make the final jog. Question is, can I make the final jog here? I think that's going to be done. Merger that pulls this way under. Let's turn. Oh yes. So this side's easy, which means that side would have been easy if I just moved it off. The output was in the corner. And how much nicer that looks. Let's do that. Merger. Center there. Their output. Last sends the actual merge stuff out. I think we've got it. I think we've got it. And we've got it in a way that doesn't cause intense breaking of the mind with lots of. So I'm going to try to work from output toward the input, from the walls toward the middle, so I can walk out here. And what I want is for this belt to come around and come back this way. So I need to make sure that the splitters on this side facing this way. Okay, so step at a time. These are outputs. Right. Let's do the right. So before I put this belt in, I want to work on outboard. Got his place. This is just going to stop here. Right, and comes back to him. Right, and the other thing I needed to check was to make sure I could make this connection. How about that? Yeah, I thought this was going to be too close. So I'm guessing the connection point for the belts actually on this line, or maybe this line, rather than being on. Other thing I can do before we start putting belts in, like even before I start putting the in, this guy's left. You. So we have our splitters and our mergers here from the outside. Belts coming in there and to here. Lifts first, I guess. Let's just do all the lifts. Lift, down, down, all of our lifts are in. Might be easier to do center and then up with them. So since he's here, only need to be Mark 1s, I think. So coming in with iron ingots, we've got 120 iron ingots on each side. So this needs to be a 2. 120, deal with a third, that's 80, so that's a Mark 2. And that's a this input's at 240. 3. Let's get the larger checklist so I can. This is the forging floor. So we're going to bring in coal on one belt and iron gets on 2. So coal, we're starting out with 240, and we're taking 1/6 of that for each machine. 40, this is going to be 10, so we still need to be 180. Coming across, we have half of it left. This is 120 left, so we have 2s, and we have nowhere to go. I was going to do my outputs first, and I didn't. I need to jump in here. And our outputs are going to be 60 per machine. So we can get by with a Mark 1 belt here, Mark 2 belt here. This needs to be a Mark 3 belt. $180 Mark 2 belt. Yeah, it needs to be a Mark 3. And now we have the weakness of this plan. I can't hook up the power easy way, so I have to. With the top floor gone, I can see the power nubs. Which means that when we want to hook the power up to the constructors' machines, we need to take out the floor to be able to access the power nubs. I think that's a bad idea, so I'm going to have to do power nubs after, so that they're not here. Sorry, all that replanning of power is now. Now this side. Take out this wall. Give us a lot of nice skylight to work with. Splitter. That. That. Splitter here. Incoming is 120. It is not pointed the right way. Passing along 90, so it's still a mark. It's also not pointed. He only needs to be able. Hold on. I swear I have to pick these up and so many. This is like freaking me out just a little bit because I would normally expect it to be on center here, but we are sliding things around a bit. There's the routing of this. So 120 iron ingots come in. Divert a third of them. We've got 80. Divert half of those. We've got 40. Go. Iron stops here. Now, I might be tempted to bring this down and just bring it right into the lift. That would curve this in and conflict with our output. Speaking of our output, merger and center, putting to the left. That. Have you. We know that we need a. This guy is 60, so we get Mark 1 belt there, Mark 2 belt there, Mark 3 belt there. Actually, it works better me putting it in that direction. That's nice. Now, these guys, I need a splitters. I need to take it in that direction so I can wrap it around. This way, I don't need to split the coal coming in. It does mean that we have 240 coal. Bulldoze goes down by, hold on, 30 each. 240, 210, 180. It's not right. Hold on. Gold steel ingots. 40 per minute. 240, 200, 160. So 40 is 3, 200, 80, 160, 120. This is where we go Mark II. Come right in here, split off to splitter. This would line up with a hole here if we need to. We don't need it to. And rotate it direction. And again, I'm glad I took out the so I could pop up the top because I forgot to put my lifts. Six, seven. Boat's coming down. Lifts to run on the side and finish up with the belts. We've got belts for the output and the first input. This guy 20, so this is 80, it needs a Mark II. 40, it only needs a Mark I. Cool. So that gets us all of our resources being lifted and our output being back down. To put the smelters in place and work out the power. It's going to be getting rid of some ores here. I actually remember where the so I can actually just place nubs and then say, well, that's where they are. Put it here. Better check and so I was doing it on the other side. Just put it. So for our foundry. Foundry's on center here. This line comes straight down. on this side. Here's where the merger was. Roughly like that. What I'm going to do, give up on the idea of just putting these in place. Putting the power in place, I won't actually do it right. The first foundry. Plugging these in at problem was we landed in the middle of this guy. I'm going to put it, say, here. Notice I couldn't diabolic directly. Always seem to get it off by one. I could tuck it in there, but then I'd never talk to it. This leaves my power accessible, so it's not going to be a direct. I notice it's twisted a little like that. Oh, that's really too much. Tolerate there. I think all the good spots. Problems. I put it back there. Yes, I can put it back there. It still works. Looks like it's unattachable. Actually, however, it's duplicated across, not mirrored. That up, so now we just need to get our foundries in. Now he's lifted up. I don't like that. Able to. I can flip it in there. Power. lined up. And I decided that easier. Actually, I kind of liked the way it was easier to the collars. It isn't. And input. Because I've got a place out here I can stack things. I don't have to stack them up in order, but stacking them up does help me keep track of where my inputs and outputs are. I believe this is all set. Need to set recipes. This is solid steel ingots. Yes, it would be nice if I could connect power and resources up here. Especially nice if you could say, we are on a test jig, so synthesize virtual raw materials going in, allow this to run, and measure the virtual outputs coming out as a test. So this could turn into a really nice test platform. But it's not there yet. So I hope this is working. So iron ingots and copper. But hope is all I can do here. This is now called 6X solid steel. Our icon is steel ingots. Save the blueprint and blueprint area, and we this into Greenfield steel. Now I'm going to place one instance of it over. We'll use R to set the build mode to blueprint, so it will align with the other blueprint. Rotate it until I have the white arrow pointed toward me. It's a little hard to see, but there it is. And now if I had coal and iron ingots here, I could just feed them in and test it. But we don't have coal and iron ingots handy. Could go get some iron ingots, but eh. What can I test? Well, one thing I could test would be to make sure that our power is actually kept all the machines. Get some. Where do we have some power? I don't have any power coming. I cleaned up a whole bunch of things on the base, which means a whole bunch of things no longer connected to. Interesting. Now our test area has power connected to its lower floor. I can visually see that all the machines have power. Back to looking at them. And we see that one of our machines back there is still red. Somebody. It's like it's got power coming. You. Power. Program. Why are you red over there? Why we have debugging plan. Okay. What is different about you? It's the wrong machine. You're not programmed. This machine. You blueprint. Did it put it back in undefined? No. Look at all of your pretty lights. So that tells us that our power is routed and the machines are programmed. It doesn't tell us that it's going to work, but that's the test that we could do so far. Also can see that our inputs are coming in here, here, and here. And if I go around to the other side, see that I need to route outputs from there, and I have an extra hole. 2 extra holes are being, oh, this is my output here. So these 2 are outputs, and that's an extra hole that shouldn't be. I find it hard to maneuver my parachute precisely for land. There. Now I have no idea why suddenly my recipe carried over to the other blueprint designer. I suspect somewhere in the Satisfactory code somebody has a singleton or the blueprint designer. That makes it a little bit tricky to do these multiple blueprint designers in a row. So we're going to save that. To clear this blueprint over here and this blueprint. Now, I'm wondering if it is duplicating the materials. I haven't been good about clearing out the blueprint designer. Sorry. So we are going to now design the one that I had the TLDR. Yeah, here's my make TLDR. So we have designed the foundry floor. Let's design the smelter floor. What I'm going to do is I'll put the foundry floor over here. What the fuck? Saw that, right? I loaded the blueprint into that, and it loaded it into both of them. That's weird. So anyway, we want our outputs to be... We need iron ingots coming out there. We need to have 4 sides. So we are going to start with our thing. You have, our blank just happens to have these in the corners. Dust the doors. Going to, I could bring the ore in the back. Or I could bring the ore in here, like this. Back is still going to be blank. Means what we want to do is have our inputs go up here and up there. I did like the way that I had all that light to work. If our input is coming in dead center, easiest way to do this is to plop this guy down here and make sure that our smelters fit neatly, I believe. Yeah, so one end is going to be tucked inside, the other is going to be jutting out a little bit. That's appropriate tonight. This is both clip into our jewel splitters and mergers. Could put the smelters closer together, but at this point the question becomes why? Have the space. Might as well have our empty space spread out between the smelters rather than have it all at one end or in the middle. I should be able to just line this up, put it into place without risk. I could do a number of things here, but this way seems to not have them end up raised. Ironing. Let's put that. Other side. Set it this way. Turn it. Facing same. That match. Okay, it was just a trick of perspective then. So I was off this way. And now sneak it in place so we get both of the alignments. It's going. Here, next step I think is to get our power pulled down to figure out where that's. Get on top of these guys. Pull down just any one of them. I'm going to want it just to the inside of that silver area. And if I put a dead center on the middle, eyeballing it, that looks like it's near the output of the merger. That should be okay. Power poles center on 1/2 meter, and these guys center on 1. So could be giving up some good looking stuff, but let's see what the up front this. Some sight lines in this. Similar, but on the side. Centering it. I'm really enthusiastic about blueprints. I could blueprint just this 1x2 area and stamp it down. But I never think about that in time. There. That's all. I'm going to go ahead and remove all of the flooring so I can see when I can add it back. It's metal. Always watch your count there. That'll tell you if you picked up anything extra. So the machines are in. Collars are in, power's in. Just need to put in mergers and our lifters. This machine, collar, wrong place. Rest of them in to see if there's any other placed holes. Just the one so far. These guys, we're going to be snapping the merger onto the bottom, so these can just go right in like that. Have this one hole that's in place. Okay. Steel from you. Next. So this is the output side. Merge it going out. Splitter, input, make sure that's lined up. We are taking two inputs here. So we have two miners mining iron. We're going to bring it up on two belts, and we're going to take the two belts in, and good. We're going to do a whole merge on the other end and split here, so we can use a more expensive belt. Put these in before I put the belt in. I have to run around to put the seedling in, so let's just do that. Now I could put the floor in as well. I should put the floor in first, but eh. In this case, I am pretty certain this is correct. I'm willing to speculate, button it up. Test it, and if it fails, then I'll button it. This is just gonna. Assuming I can actually put in the belts now. Starting with our inputs, which come up the middle. Smelting. Each one of these machines takes 30 in and 30 out. 240 total, so 120 coming in. So we need a Mark II belt. First couple. 120. Take away 30, that's 90. Take away another 60, so we go. Hey, this makes it easy. I can slide right over the belts. outputs coming down, so 62 because that's 90. It's 100. So this particular way of building, getting the floors in first and just crouch over that, that's actually quite easy to work with. So inputs in the middle, side, should be hooked. Save this off. 8. On it. On up here. Smelters goes. Put the smelters and the above it up. That. The smelters toward us. Hit E. Now there's solid steel still toward us. So our inputs come from here. So in a full test platform, I would have some material. It would need to be Mark II. This is my output. Further up, and it needs to be a Mark. Well, that's my coal input. Weakness, I have a input here that lines up with the input here. I'll allow it. The other alternative is that I have to read this to get my coal in somewhere that isn't on the front panel, or I have to this to iron ore front panel, or I have to bring in one line and split it so the other. Can't really test it. I do have power running. Those guys. It's these guys over. I run my power nubs and then oh, it's probably red because they're not programmed. Yeah. Yep, I forgot to program these. better. See all that confidence, and I made a rookie mistake. Save blue. Smelters. Guys out like that. I think I can slip the smelters. Yep, everybody's green, so you're all programmed and powered. And I have high confidence in belts. But this would allow me to build up the steel ingots. It's a bit of a trek over there to test this. Let's do the final floor before we... Blueprint in, or blank blueprint. Still have the steel here. His outputs are in back. So it's that corner and that corner. That's correct. And that's the other one. Not know what's going on. The rest of this. I am going to open the rest of that out. So we have steel ingots coming in the back. The smelting floor, this is what I call prod. 6 constructors making steel beam. Oh, that is so easy. And we will just lay them all out so they take their input here and output to here and output. End up with 2 lines of steel beams at 45 per. We will take them back down to ground floor. And again, it's going to have to dogleg because all 4 of our things are ready, but bring it probably down along this line. And on the ground floor, we will put our boxes and our uploaders. So this will not have boxes in it. Even though probably there's rooms. You can put 2 rows of 4. We're going to put 2 rows of 3 in, so I could even the sky here. I'm going to start with here, here. When you've got a lot of light, it's really easy just to do this from above. The downside is I can't really see what I think it is. Both of them are left to right. Got the line. Guys can't get any closer than okay. So we need to run power. Power comes down on this side, so so we have some space to look in on what's, and it is on the back side, so I can this as well. So where does this come down? Kind of on this edge here. And we got a choice between two almost, but not. Relative to this, just pick out that. So I can right into the same. Power. All of these are going to be down here. So up here. Let's do this first. Get rid of these. That. Would come in from the back, up this way. What puts out there? Something. This wants to do it like that, and I was getting it correct in the top because forced it correct direction. But I tried to do the top first; it was all confused. Guys are splitters. Oh, left. And now these guys, which are the merge that way. Probably would have worked better if I'd done the top one first. So I can verify the top one, have the bottom one automatically. Yeah. For future reference. Mergers with outputs left. Power, mergers, splitters, lifts, belts, and that button up the ceiling. That didn't look. Do the input first. Actually need to. With the input here, we're consuming 108 this line. You mark 3. 120, so you 2. 60 so you can be anything here. Coming in, stepping down. Ooh. Stepping down. Output. Whole thing is going to be 45 coming out, so this can all be Arc 1's all. And I thought that looked wrong. Brought it down the wrong direction. There we go. Arc 1 belt's coming down this side. So I was saying that I would bring this across and they merge and go down somewhere. I'm thinking I can make my single output here instead by adding just one merger. That. Now you are going to need to carry 90, which is 2. Arc 1 from there, and Arc 1. Hey, how about that? That brings us out this corner. It's too bad I can't do the same, bring up the corner dodge for coal. Be nice, huh? We'll come down the side and we'll slip back in underneath, and I will just manually put in the box and the quantum area down at the base level when we put it. I'm going to leave you open for debugging because I am less confident in this. So this is 6x. Smelter, let's go in. Steel. That order. I just heard somebody build. Before I put them up. Okay. And I think I forgot to program it. Let's put the floor in then. Yeah, I forgot. Save blip. steel. Edit. Did it again. Like it rebuilds this. So the backside looks like that. Getting your inputs. Front side, you can see your outputs going. That is taller than we can get to normally. Better. So these ladders are actually outside the bounding box of the blueprint, so I could leave this ladder here for future testing. And yes, indeed, all of our machines show green. Let's pull down this stack, grab our materials, leave the floor there, clear these guys out, grab their materials, and we're going to go build. I will need to get my parts for my. Well, we got one quantum box still sitting out there, so we're good. We don't take anything. We can actually place this twice because we have several areas that have coal and coming in. Got that area up there. You can see the coal miner that I left up on the hill. Didn't want to go back up this again. And we have coal off in the other direction we're currently using to make some EIBs. Not all many of them, making a dribble of them. Making down. We'll go down and look at what we're making down there, but we have two areas where we're making steel. And currently, here's our current reserves. Okay, so that's what we have left. This is where we're going to do the build. Got our coal coming from up there. We've got our iron coming from here. Scroll back to the top of this and let's play. One Mark II miner gathering coal and two Mark II miners on a normal node. That would be these two. Didn't quite get our previously built thing done. If I tear this down now, I can build. This is the limestone that we're not using. And we have more iron down here, which we could use for something, but we're using up all of our coal, so I'm just going to mark all of this. We're now carrying all of the steel beams that we own, except for the one stack. Where are we going to put our building? Kind of out in the area there. I want to have it grid aligned, and I don't know how to grid align blueprints. Just didn't seem to do it. If we start off with guys, and hold down control, this really isn't constraining where it goes. high view. Hey, apparently if you remove all your stuff from an area, you'll get respawns. Now, I just walked away a little bit. He respawned because he wasn't there before. Power. So, foundations. I'm going to do a drip metal foundation. I have a lot past here. I have to align it to the grid. I want a 6x6 area. A bit away from this way. That would be 6. I'll put it there, or I'll put it further out to the right. But it's starting there. So if I have my iron coming in from this wall, smelters, I'll have to put something down for them to be on top of. Just for reference, I'm going to want my white arrow pointed to the left. I want to put this this is really very close to flat. Can I not go? Because that is the floor. Fine. There's my 4x4 area. I will leave the raised grip metal around it. And we're going to start off with just a normal guy like. So low. There. And now I'm good. Just because I realized that I was off by a little bit. Get it right. I may want this to line up later on stuff. Okay. I think that looks good. And spruce up area around it later when we start to turn it into a building. I don't think this is going to be a fancy one, not like I did with iron area. But I do have my doors. I do have a bit of an underground area that I could use to run belts. For instance, I could bring my iron in side and then route it out these guys and up smelters. Or I could bring it like I did before. I could bring it around the building and enter on that side and hide the fact that there's absolutely nothing happening under balance. So now we start building upwards. Arrow goes towards us. Infield steel. Start off with the iron smelters. Put a blueprint alignment so it'll center of that. Rotate until you see the white line. That in. Solid steel. Same drill. It should just be aligned. See it up there. Good. Steel beam. And we can actually reach all the way up to the top. So if I wanted to mediate everything through the bottom layer, output up down. I left all these unbuttoned because it's untested, so we may need to come back and rebuild after testing. Total outputs 90. So we need a 2 left all the way down to the bottom. Inputs need to be marked 2 lifts or that. Ingots. Did I mess up? Inputs are here. So, yeah. Ore is going to come up. It's then go up there. Coming in here. Can't bring it in there. That happened. There. The coal, iron. Coal comes down from the top and in. These guys are going to wrap around somewhere, and then the output comes from here and goes right up to and ingots to the top level. I mark these. It'll be less confusing once we get the cladding on the side. Power. Comes down the corner. Power pole that way. Have one down here. We had one. There we go. Bring it up. So for testing, turn these around. So we need some four. I just need to get this to go in. Not need to be pretty for using. Start from straight mode. It's best to make nice right angles and good enough for testing. That puts 120. That is, leave. Extend this so I can see plan. Oh. And we need to have a Mark III belt coming down. Oh. So I am regretting having torn up my nice, beautiful line here that pull down in here somewhere. Button. Sure how high that has to go. Going to be bringing one. And power. They're actually 1 meter high. I'm going out by no. Again. Shoot up. I'm going to start our grid from the instead of the. Here's the level. Loop you out by. Vertical. Bury yourselves in the ground. Zoop. I could bring myself in a sandwich layer above this. That might actually be easier to work with. Gives a little more headroom for driving through. I have ceiling, that, and then we'll raise the floor and stuff. I think I'm going to come down inside that area. Why I keep trying to jump up these things. No. Much easier. Up at the top, we'll figure out where. Center. Mark 3 lift. Mark 3. Straight drawn from here means this is as straight as possible, and it does the minimum bend at the end. Flip on. Or is set here. Up to the corner. Drop it. We can turn this to be however we want for it's the right one. Gotta like you one more. Done with you. Cross, come down, sandwich layer, other sandwich going across the bottom here. This. Look where it meets up. Isn't it nice having a world grid? So you just need to come here somewhere. brings you inside the subfloor here, so I can route you over to corporate. There. Coming in midway on this one, that means which means I want to have the lower floor that's going to go A out. I'm going to go ahead and use a 4-meter tall all the way across. So put you here. This way. When this goes away, there'll just be this collar around the upper half of the pole. It's acceptable. All of this will go away eventually, so I can cut. To get up on top anymore. Mark III belt going all the way down here. And it looks like my little down here. Stop it. Taking out the poles so they don't stick down through. Feel the need to have that be. This goes all the way to this in. Use a Mark III lift. That brings our coal in. Power. I want the power to go down this railing line right here. Normal thing where it comes in. I'm going to move it to there, and then we're going to move it in so we get those angles. All the way down, and it's too far. All the way up here. If I delete this foundation to attach that to power above, I have problem. Instead, what I here, this down here. For testing. This is kind of my final line, but these guys are still just for testing. I will button those up nicely later. So in theory, it should be full out now. See any yet? This doesn't connect power yet. Oh. Wait a minute. There is a cable. Goes from there. Could be. Maybe I just didn't wait long enough. I have to wait for it. Hang on. Oh, I turned him off. Okay. Yeah, when I was decommissioning, I came up and powered him down first, and then after everything drained, then I picked it. So we now have 240 coal up there, heading down here, under this guy. We're going to do an underfloor, and then we're going to wall this up. Start off by this side. Zap the middle. When we're building the underfloor, we'll be building it from the top of the underfloor. So we start with you there. Easy way to get onto this. Better. Just to grab one of them. As we go, we can think. I don't know, I might be off by one vertically, so I better do that one from the side. And that pulled us all the way up here. We're good. There we go. That way we have a nice sandwich layer. Bring our coal in. We've got a bit of a sleeve here. Bringing our coal down. So that looks good. Pulls in. Everybody's connected. I'm wrong, but shouldn't we be... I mean, shouldn't we be turning all of that ore in ingots? Processing it? I have used words like high confidence. And now it's doing nothing. And we should have been smelting the iron all this time. No. No. Okay, so we're going to put in a patch station. Oh, I am such an idiot. Well, that explains why those are going. But these guys. Guy has ore. Okay, so he ran, and his outputs are saturated. Couldn't run because he got no inputs. Step one is to fix this guy. So we need a patch station. We also need a place to dump crap. Some sink. And an industrial box. So our iron smelting layer has a bug. Got to put some things. To do my lids. Food blueprint. Field steel iron smelters. Good big excuse that there's stuff to do here. The fact is that I've got double checked all of this. Save it. Layer. Delete everything that connected to it. These will not reconnect. Delete the ladder. And these guys, I go ahead and route them. We can do this normally. Oh, going back to the corner. Let's bring iron to iron, then coal. Means this guy really comes out the side and gonna have a floor. This guy needs to make a turn and come down. The collar there. Here. Dead center to make it up. He did this anyway. back to... That looks good. So these two are now iron. Direction. Now these come in. It's far. Okay, so it corrects the height immediately. It's the angle at the lowest moment. That works. I don't believe it actually did that, and that is a very nice layout. I think for this guy, I'm gonna back to here. And then portal. Iron core. Just to there. It's too long. It's not on center. I feel like I was coming out straight. Okay. Stretch. That. In case I need it. We've routed the iron and the coal. Put in this guy new. Smelters. I don't know where you're going. Are you trying to go back to where you built? I'm wondering if building a blueprint causes it to rebuild it at the original place where it was constructed. So, iron ore comes up on Mark IIs, and iron ingots are also on Mark. it sounds like things are moving. Let's take a look. Are the smelters smelting? The first ones, this is all on the manifolds, the first ones are going to get 100%. Last one is still pretty close. The ingots here are glowing, and here they're stopped, probably because we filled that manifold earlier. Let's go up to the next floor. He's not buttoned up yet. At a minimum, even if he's perfectly working, we still need to go and button him up. And again, I see that I have neglected to set up all of my lifters. Steel. So these steel lines, I need to set up my lifters. So the whole blueprint go poof. All the places I was connected to it. Poof. Load blueprint. Solid steel. So for some high confidence builds, I missed an amazing number of bits of build. These guys require Mark 1 lifters. It's connected. It's connected. During the chirp. That one chirp when I pull it in. Just not chirping at me. I'm gonna have to pay extra attention to these. So I guess the one downside to having them be so close in, aside from the fact that this machine is wonky, I'm going to place him again. So with these tucked in like this, it's always, it's not always obvious when you've missed one. I think I would prefer to not do quite so complex building. There we go. There was something weird about that particular machine. That means the power is now disconnected. already has a power nub. We've got power, we've got 3 up. I think the rest of it was functioning. Some walls up. Oh, we'll put some floors up first and then. I was just checking to make sure there was actually a here. Looked like that was set back a bit. Sure, it actually connected. Okay, so we are sealed in. Got our floor set. We got set. Save blueprint. Down all of the thingies that were to it. Double check on the other side. Arrow needs to point. Solid steel. See the air. How is that trying to clip into that machine? So we're getting a wonky. This guy was trying to clip in here. He's getting input, sending output, he's good. And we just finished refixing this. I'm not going to tear it down and build it again, but I will correct the print here. Save it. It'd be kind of interesting if you had linked it so that when you corrected the blueprint on the blueprint maker, it automatically updated all of the buildings built from that blueprint. Wherever they were in the world. That would make a really interesting way to build and automate updating your factories. Jag, are we running? We're not going to be running at capacity by any means. We've been running for a while. And we do have a bunch of outputs that are built up. Because Homie hasn't hooked up these yet. And these guys need 180. Need Mark 3s. one way of building these when you got manifolds is literally to not connect up any floor to any floor's outputs until it has completely saturated. That guarantees that your manifolds are filled. But it takes the same amount of time if you just don't connect the output of the entire building. So we can see that those two are now flowing upwards. That doesn't say that all of our okay. Now let's go all the way up to the top. We should be building our steel beams. I see a whole bunch of machines with yellow-green lights on, meaning they've got stuff happening. So he's running really slow. He spent a lot of time power down. We're not getting hardly any ingots. Oh, that's right. This one, what we should be getting, oh, right, coming in from the back here. That's not good. We should be getting more ingots than that out of there. Wait a minute. Yeah, we should be getting 360 per minute, so 180 on each one of those. Like, we're not getting much coal. It's so cool. Got a Mark II coal. Moving it. Oh, that's right. The coal goes all the way around. So this guy gets filled up. And then this guy gets filled up. And this guy gets. So that's just going to take a while for the manifold to fill. Meanwhile, yeah, we'll see that side ramp up, and this side is the second half of the manifold, so it's slow. I just need to wait patiently while it first fills this side and then the other. And I think we've got it. Now I can take our output down and start working on that. Don't want to actually hook up the output yet. Oh, the top also needs to be buttoned up. And I need to route its output. Now, where is your output? Is you? Oh, here. Right. We've already got the output routed. He's coming in there, and I'm just going to send him right up of hood. Need to rerun him when I button him up and place him. So that guy just needs the clamp. Blueprint. Steel beams. Get forward. Way around. Seaway. Wall, and we're gonna put walls in everywhere. Seal B, save blueprint. Just you. Off the things because they won't connect. See, when I start building it, sent a whole bunch of mats back to base somewhere. So he's all buttoned up. It's output and it's inputs. Double check the outputs 90, so we need a 2. And the inputs are 2 volts of 180. Make sure I don't reverse it. There seems to be some freedom of action here as to where this is clipping in, even though everywhere else is connected up. And power. Things are starting to move. And I should see input loading. Yep. And we should start seeing outputs. Here comes the output. Here. I can go either way. I'm going to head this way. Kind of arbitrary industrial storage. Here. And what I'm going to do is put the industrial storage going right to left and put the depot next to it. All of our that this one. That's a lift Mark 1. Be a lift. Mark 3, Mark. I'm going to make that a Mark 3. I know that we're not bringing down more than 120, but make it all Mark 3, it'll move. Ooh, zippy. And this is uploading because I have used some. So we've used concrete and it's going up again. We've used steel beam and it's going up again. I think we're good. Probably have a bunch of junk parts on me. What do I not need? These I can get from depot again. Coal. And whoops. There. Very minimum stuff. Your blueprint design. You go away. And I can dunk all stuff back here. We'll just let him continue. So in this space, I'm using manifolds to fill up these boxes, and they're filling slowly through big buffers. So we will tend to be able to refill in bursts, as long as I can do an overnight restock if I draw my stock down. One thing I'm not doing is I'm not sending excess to the fix-it stuff. I could. It's extra complexity. Don't think I need to. I'm not. How are we doing totally for power in this base? So we have our main supply of power, which is 1.8 gigawatts. And this base, with everything put together, is drawing under 1.6. So I could instantiate another building like this down the road where there's more coal. What I think I'm going to do is leave it alone, leave the other building just as it is. I'm even going to forget what it's building. And later on, we're going to come back and we're going to put encased industrial beams in there. This is not a bad looking building. I do need to come back at some point and build some architecture around this, but this thing makes a nice core. This lower floor is kind of big and it's a big gap, but that's all right. Many of these buildings are sparsely populated, many levels. And up top we have our little caps. I could take those out. That's these guys here. They're in the blueprint to force the spacing vertically. And leaving them there isn't a horrible thing. They don't look too bad. The one up top kind of acts as a marker for here's where to put the ceiling. And I ended up with the hole coming through a sandwich layer with enough headroom that I think I could even drive my truck under here if I had to. I believe that's got everything automated except pipes. Let's see. I'm going to tell if I've got pipes automated is to go here, grab a stack. Oh, though that's just going to tell me if pipes are being fed from a box. Oh, nope. I do have pipes there in the iron area. What was it I was missing? Encased industrial beams. We've got a small quantity of EIBs coming out over there because we're able to do them out cold. There was something I was going to include. Not what it was. Well, if I run out of, well, there's screws, not automating screws. Something. I literally don't remember. And now it's bugging me, so I am going to go out to my machine over here. And I think it's something that I left here that was spooling out of a box. I do know that my plan over here was to replace this with a machine that maximized the encased industrial beams. Okay. Pipes, these guys are being produced by iron as well here. Seriously. So this guy is just making pipes and throwing them away. He's obsolete. The limestone. So we are making concrete. We are making steel ingots. Oh, encased industrial beams. Right. But in this case, we have already revised this, so the EIBs are just being sent to the sink. So I could, in fact, revise this so that all of the pipes are being sent to the sink. Don't need to. I could also keep the EIBs, sinking them right now. Well, when I need them, I'll come back and it's that EIBs. It's kind of an old build, so I can probably do better. So I am thinking that now is the time for us to start moving house. Now, coming back from the northwest, I did drag some power poles behind me. So we don't need to immediately build power plant on the other side, but we don't have a lot of excess capacity. We will want to spool up a power plant there. It's too bad I didn't also draw stuff here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this recording. I'm going to go load this into SCIM and have a map of where my power poles are so I can run back along the power pole. And I will also package all this stuff up, and I will put stuff into the awesome sink that I'm not carrying with me, and I will the rest of it. You've got a lot of stuff like this. I picked up a bunch of advanced things, rec sites. I could hold on to them. Probably I could use some of them for research. Let's see. Is there anything I can research using that stuff. What else do I have here? Animal parts. Grabbing you. You. Just take everything. Oh, can't take everything. Some of it's junk. I want to recycle right off the top. Start off with steel ingots. Anything else that I currently have automated? They have to drive a truck to get better inventory. Sort. All the crap I had laying around here happens to fit in my inventory. Can I do any research before we go? I could research protein inhalers. Just have to get stuff out. I really ought to research this stuff, so I need to do 5 capsules there, and we'll grab some stuff. So let's do that. A few more of those. We have the most of hatchers. So alien megafauna. Structural analysis. I need to grab rods, so we're going to stack of.
Research to develop the rebar gun is now available. When completed, you will be in possession of a tool effective against any local obstacles actively objecting to the Fix-It mission.
Things here. Doing research because I will have to pick up some more stuff from the depot. I'm going to need rotors, reinforced plates, and screws. I thought we needed 1,000, not that we had 1,000.
Rebar gun and iron rebar ammo unlocked. Your ingenuity towards preservation of Fix-It property has been noted. You earned a micro break. And welcome back. I hope you feel refreshed.
I now have a rebar gun. Protection, inhale, skip. This stuff is all coming soon. Oh, I could actually got a Summers loop somewhere. Spending a lot of valuable stuff though. Hold off. So the explosive rebar apparently can take out the rocks. These are all just a little bit beyond my current technology. A stun rebar could probably do. Some of them I'm shatter rebar. So it takes 150. Let's do the shatter rebar. That might be the explosive rebar. No, there's explosive rebar. And that's a ways away. Okay, so we are done. Also, I just dump. Yeah, let's. Quick wire is so easy to grab and dump my wire. Oh, I do not have enough inventory, so we are truck. The route that I wanted to take with power, I'm not sure I could drive a truck. But I can drive a truck around the beach route. So we'll go the beach route and I will take. Here that basically means heading west and okay. Crafting bench. So the truck, I need fuel to be on the truck so it can use the fuel. And I'm going to put a whole bunch of other junk on it. Hopefully nothing that he can burn as fuel. Let's put all the bio. Put all this. He's full now. Well, I think I am ready to take down the hub. We've already taken down the space elevator. Anything else we can kind of leave here? And yeah, I think I'm going to end the recording and we're going to start a new recording when we get to our destination. Because I may have to do a whole bunch of junky things to get here to there. Tractor's going to fumble over a bunch of things. I will see you when we get to our pure iron heaven.